In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nestor Licanto, and our guests this week are from the Guam Museum Foundation and the Reyes Art Gallery. We're talking about a night at the Guam Museum, an event coming up on Friday of this week. We have the chairman of the Guam Museum Foundation, Mr. Dave Tydingco.
Good day, everybody.
We have the curator of the museum, Dr. Michael Bevacqua.
Good day, Sidus Masi.
And we have Don Reyes, who is the owner and operator of the Reyes Art Gallery. Thanks for joining us, Don.
Thanks for having me, Nestor.
All right, Dave, let me start with you. I mentioned that the night at the museum is coming up on Friday. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. Is the second event this year that the Museum Foundation has put together. The first event was actually at the end of Mes Tomorrow. And we felt our responsibility is to make sure we continue to tell the story. And we had a great event on March 31st. And we had a lot of people come out to really celebrate Mes Tomorrow, or at least the culmination of it down at the museum. So our second event is, we are calling it a night at the museum, Tuba Chesa and Cerveza. Tuba is our great, if you will, beverage for the island of all of the Marianas, actually. And we have some great finger foods being put together by Mezcla, Artiesa, and then three great sponsors. The Guam Brewery, Guam Premium Beverages, and Ambrose are going to be there to kind of help bring people together and kind of showcase, what our museum is about. I mean, we got a lot of different programs that will be going on. But, August 12th is also a significant date in our history. August 12th, 1900, the first governor of Chamorro descent was appointed in 1960, Governor Joseph Flores. And, there was a great story behind his appointment, right? Obviously, the Flores family were a lot of entrepreneurs and became real successful businessmen. The Governor Flores started the first newspaper out here, as well as finance company way back when, and then ultimately was appointed in 1960, 62 years ago, and basically served for 1 year. I want to kind of share with you, because our museum is not just a place to celebrate our history, but it's really to tell the story of the evolution of our people. And I have to take my hat off to Dr. Mike, because I love the stuff he's putting out in social media, giving everybody a glimpse to our past. And when Governor Flores was inaugurated, I just want to share with you a little quote of his inaugural speech. He said, "There's no doubt in my mind that from this time on, the eyes of the nation will be upon us, watching and probing step by step to evaluate our integrity and our ability in the discharge of those responsibilities which are inherent in self-government. The placing in office of the first Guamanian governor paves the way towards the last lap on our journey to self-government, a God-given privilege engendered only by freedom-loving people. We are all aware, of course, that the price of freedom here, as elsewhere, is eternal vigilance, and that unless we are constantly alert, we stand to lose what we hope to keep." And, I thought that was such a powerful message that he delivered way back when. And it's really relevant today. It talks about kind of who we are, how we've evolved as a people. And, this coming Friday night, we're going to have a little bit of that shared with our community. And it would not have been possible without the support, obviously, of the Department of Chamorro Affairs, the Guam Museum staff, but also some really, really great sponsors, Bank of Guam, Addis Trust, Don Lee's Reyes Gallery. I already mentioned the beverage companies that are going to be there. Obviously, PDN, who is actually PDN evolved really from the establishment of that newspaper by Governor Flores many, many years ago. Ultimately, again, we have a lot of great people that are coming out for the event, and I hope more people will. We've got a great program going on besides local entertainment. We have Mighty Island along with the Guam International Film Festival that will be putting on a great 45-minute video in the theater. Obviously, Dr. Bevacqua and his team are going to allow for us to be able to have people go and look at the permanent exhibit. And, you know, Dawn is here to share a little bit about her work in promoting our local artists, and we're using the museum as a platform to do that. So, yeah, we're hoping people will come out. It'll start at 6 p.m. on August 12th, and it'll go on at least until after 9 p.m. So we're asking the community to come out.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
And Dr. Mike, for those who may not have had the pleasure yet to actually go down to the museum and take a tour, or maybe have not seen any of your social media posts, tell us what the first time a visitor to the museum can expect.
Oh, so this must see. And so the Guam Museum always has a lot of different programming going on. We have different galleries, but what's always there is the Hinanauta exhibit, which is our permanent exhibit. And so what we'll be doing on that night is taking people through tours. And when you go there during the day, you might go there with some Japanese tourists, some South Korean tourists. There might be some school kids in there, but this is going to be a lot more intimate. And you may be a little bit bolotsu. You may be, and who knows? My tour may get a little bit more interesting if everyone's had a little bit to drink. But what you do is you go through in each of our galleries in the Hinanauta exhibit thousands of years of Chamorro history. And it's really like the highlights. So how is it that Chamorros developed a culture connected to the land and the sea? That's where you start. What was life like when they first made contact with Europeans? What was the laddystone, the sakman? What were the weapons that they used? Then how did colonization and Catholicism change and reshape Chamorro identity and Chamorro life? What happened when the Americans came in? How did Chamorros and their lives change again? And then, of course, one of the most sort of emotionally powerful sections is the gallery where you walk through sort of World War II, the occupation. And you see on your right, you see pictures of Chamorro school children attending Japanese school during the war. On the left, you see the destruction recreated from Hagatnya. But then after you go through sort of that intense experience, they're learning about the stories of the suffering, but also the strength, the survival, the bravery of the people. Then you get going in line with what Dave was just mentioning, then you get a big image of Harry S. Truman signing the Organic Act, Carlos Taitano standing behind him. And that leads you then to the final gallery where it talks about how Guam has evolved since that time in terms of protection of the environment, culture, protection of language, political development, and so on. And so there's, of course, a small section there on Governor Flores, because he was, after World War II, the first, Chamorro governor to be appointed, the first of three. And so you get a whole sort of like a history lesson. It's kind of like downloading an entire, series on the History Channel, just sort of in one walkthrough. And so I highly recommend it even if you can't make it down for this event, a night at the Guam Museum, come down in general and just check it out.
All right. And Don, I understand that you'll be preparing a special exhibit for that night.
Yes, I am. And it's going to be under the Reyes Art Gallery flag. I'd like to say, though, that Flame Tree Freedom Center is the nonprofit organization that's doing business as the Reyes Art Gallery. And we are in Tumon Sands Plaza. And what I like to point out to people is it's one of the few places where you can see rotating exhibits of contemporary art. And I like to promote an inclusive kind of space where we can get as many artists in there, particularly people that have had difficulty showing before because they just haven't had an opportunity to do so. So when Dave asked me to participate with this event, I was really excited about it because it's an opportunity once again to showcase these contemporary artists and really give a good overview of the amazing talent that's here on Guam. So we have a total of 14 artists, including myself, and a total of 24 artworks, and all except 2 will be for sale. So I encourage people to bring their checkbooks and support the local arts. And I think it's going to be an excellent addition to the exciting things that are happening at the museum now.
All right. And Dave, you're not only the current chairman, but you were intimately involved in actually standing up the building that is now a kind of an iconic place in the short time that it's been up. Tell us more about that and how the museum actually got started. I think you're on mute, Dave.
Yeah, sorry about that. You know, actually, the history of the museum outdates all of us, right? I mean, it happened way back in the early 1900s. I believe it was Mr. Sablon who was the first person who actually kind of the idea of the museum together. Then came the devastation of World War II. And then the Guam Women's Club got involved and reopened it. And, you know, this year, the Guam Women's Club are celebrating their 70th anniversary. And one of the things we're really thankful for all the things that they do for our community, it was they who also were the ones at the very forefront of recognizing the importance of telling Ihinanata, telling the story by making sure way back when in 1954, the museum was open. There were, again, a number of different efforts put together. I remember Governor Joseph Ada had a group put together to try to develop, and a study was put together. And then ultimately, back in 2003, when Governor Felix Camacho came in, we said that, there has got to be something of a legacy that's left that will outlast all of us, that will allow us to be able to tell the story of our people. So a museum task force was put together. And during that time, Dr. Marilyn Salas was our co-chair. She really said to me something that really has been cemented in my mind. And what's so important was we need a place to tell the story of the evolution of all our people. And so we worked hard to build the platform. I need to recognize, God rest his soul, Andy Laguatnia, who had just recently passed. He and Andy Cristobal were the guys that competed actually with 2 other architectural firms for the design. It was the Guam Preservation Trust that put up money. We got those 3 firms to come in, and we had the people vote on what they thought was the best design to represent our people. And that's what you have today. Our people own that because they voted to have that design made. And then ultimately, we raised the money prior to the end of the Camacho administration and during Governor Eddie Cabo's term. It was, they were given the plans to be able to and the funding to do it, and they finalized it. The site was actually supposed to be overlooking Hagatna, but in the wisdom of the legislature, they said let's move it to Hagatna. So that's where it stands today, and so it was built there. And what a great place to host the opening of FestPac 2016, right? And that was the first kind of real showcase of our island pride, our national treasure. And now, Governor Leon Guerrero has the responsibility to be the steward, to be the person under her administration to make sure that we continue to take care of our national treasure. And that's what's really important to us. And like I said earlier, I truly appreciate Dr. Bevacqua's presence there, because I get my Instagram and posts and all my social media stuff, and I just keep learning new stuff every day about our history. And again, it's not just about celebrating our history, but really it's about learning and making sure that this place that tells the story will allow us to learn from our history so that we have a better journey forward, ihinanauta, right? We learn where we can go and ultimately get there. And I was excited to be asked to come back and be part of the museum foundation. And again, it's just for me the iconic place beyond anything else that truly represents us as our people. The thought was, well, let's build it because tourists are going to love it. And my thought is, let's build it so our people will love it. And when our people will love it and come tell the story, and there's more to tell, then people coming from abroad will come and truly appreciate who we are as a people, because that's why they come here. They want to know who we are, where we came from, and the journey forward. And history continues to tell, right? And I don't know if Dr. Mike can give us more information on this, but I was just so amazed about the story of the origins of the Chamorro people with that archaeological find and DNA study. I mean, it's amazing. And we've got to be able to have a place, a platform that will allow these stories to continue to be told.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
And that's what the museum is for. And it is a beautiful building, and I agree, it's already in the relatively short time that it's been in existence, one of the iconic buildings on Guam. Mike, sorry to put you on the spot, but as a curator, what is your particular favorite section of the museum, and why?
Oh, that's a hard one. But I think I really like the section in which, so as you walk through, after you get through sort of the contact with Europeans, you get into, it's called Fanatagwidza ni Ha'ani, and it's the section in which it talks about the impacts of colonization, how Chamorro culture changes and adapts once sort of the Spanish Chamorro wars are over. And so one thing that I like about that section, though, is that in the first few galleries, a lot of what is shared is ancient times. It's old, and so it's, you know, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, but it's also in the past. Once we get into that section, though, that's when you see people come into the gallery, and as they're looking, they'll look at a picture and say, oh wait, I think that's my grandmother, or oh wait, I think that's my uncle. And so that's what's really powerful, is that this is about telling the story of the Chamorro people, bringing out the connections, and then but then in that section, that's when people actually start to feel them more strongly, because then they recognize, oh, wait a second, I know this place. I remember a guy last year who came in, and there's a picture of young people swimming near a fishing party in Umatic Bay. And there was a man who came in and he said, that's me. At least I think that's me. Those are my uncles and that's my cousins. I think that's me. And so that's, for me, that's super powerful, is because as Dave was talking about, when the Guam Museum was first opened, a lot of it was a worry that the past of the Chamorro people was going to be lost. That there wouldn't be any more lati, there wouldn't be any more sling stones, that all these documents, all these artifacts would be gone. So let's have a place to store them so that people can see what used to exist. But what I love is the idea of a living museum. Sort of, not that the museum just shows the way things used to be, but that the museum follows the people, that it talks about what was, but it also makes connections to what is now. And then therefore it can also inspire people to think about what might happen next. Right. And so that's what I love, is when people come in and they may make profound connections of all sorts, but I love it once they leave the museum feeling that this is ours. That this is a place that's connected to me. I love that feeling, that sort of community connection.
Yeah. And Don, as an artist, I'm sure you and your fellow artists appreciate the gallery aspect of the museum, yeah?
Well, yes, and just to, I love what Mike just said and what Dave said prior to that. And, culture is a living thing, and our contemporary culture needs to be also recognized, and how it connects to the ancient culture. And we can do that very well with the arts. We have a lot of talented people here who they're so thrilled to be showing in the museum. You know, when they gave me artwork that's huge, and I had to go back and ask for more space, you know, because just the idea of being able to be part of this thing that is our iconic cultural building on Guam that houses everything about what it is to be Chamorro, what it is to be part of the culture that exists now. I mean, I feel like I'm a part of it, but I certainly have no roots, you know. So, but I think it's important to recognize that our culture is a living thing and that it has changed. But that it maintains some very important roots in what Mike was mentioning and also what Dave was mentioning earlier. So those connections as the museum moves forward, I think, you know, are critical to its growth.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
Maybe let me wind it up with you one more time. Just invite folks down to the museum on Friday.
Yeah, well, we have, again, a great night. It's a night at the museum. Tuba, Chiesa, Jensi, Besa. We're, you know, us Chamorros are known for great food, great parties, but I think the more important aspect of the event is we're bringing our people back. We're bringing them to kind of celebrate who we are as a people, to learn. And again, I'm so proud of the folks that have come out, and all the sponsors, and I can't go through the entire list, but one in particular, Kyle Perron and his team over at Mighty Island, along with GIF. I mean, talk about our future. And they're going to be there to showcase a wonderful 45-minute theater production that I think people are going to enjoy. And they will enjoy it in a place with their friends and their family, and hopefully take the experience and not just make it a one-night event, because we're hoping that the evening will allow people, as Dr. Mike said earlier, to make that connection and continue to be a part of it, and story of the evolution of our people and our journey, Ian and Alta, can continue to be told beyond us. And so we're really happy. We're thankful for all the sponsors, and we're hoping more people will come out this Friday night. And like I said, if you can't make it Friday, go check out Dr. Mike and go to the museum website, because you can make reservations to come there. But it's 6 to 9 p.m. this Friday, August 12th, the birthday of Governor Joseph Flores.
All right, well said. Okay, everybody, we'll see you down at the Guam Museum on Friday night, August the 12th. I'm Nestor Licanto. That's Dave Tydingco, Dr. Michael Bevacqua, and Don Reyes. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week on In Full Zoom.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.